I. The first kingdoms, before the gods, before the blade, before the greed, before the trade. Man was dust, man was clay, man had light, then lost the way. He raised his hand, he built his walls, he cast his name, he crowned his halls. He learned to fight, he learned to rule, he learned to forge, he learned to fool. Yet hunger burned within his chest, and war became his final test. For power called and man obeyed, and history's hand was never stayed. The cities rose, the rivers turned, the towers stood, the forests burned. Yet every throne that touched the sky was doomed to fall, was doomed to die. Second, the fall of empires. Babylon's gates, tall and wide, the rivers bled, the kings had lied. Its walls were dust, its thrones were drowned, its gods were lost, its names unfound. Egypt's lords in golden light, their reign was strong, their reign was right, yet tombs collapsed, their voices dimmed, their rule was hushed, their past was grim. The Greeks had might, their minds were vast, their kingdoms swayed, their legions clashed, yet all their stone and all their steel could not defy time's spinning wheel. The Romans built their roads so wide, their legions marched with iron pride, yet knives would find them in the night, and emperors burned without a fight. The cycle spun, the throne was cursed, the rule of man would never last, for every king would taste the dust, and every age would fade to past. Third, the age of war and greed. The swords were steel, the muskets roared, the banners waved, the cannons soared, the crowns were bought, the titles sold, the weak were slaves, the strong were gold. The lands were torn, the maps were read, the treaties spoke, the millions bled, the wealth was hoarded, hands were chained, the poor still begged, the kings still reigned. The leaders swore the wars would end, the rulers spoke with righteous tongues, yet soldiers fell in fields of black, while kingdoms sang their victory songs. The years would pass, the wars would fade, the flags would change, the thrones remain, yet every land that found its peace would soon be set to burn again. Fourth, the rise of machines. The towers stood, the engines screamed, the wires ran, the markets dreamed, the gears were loud, the forges burned, the men were ghosts. The age had turned, the merchants rose, the rich grew vast, the wars were sold, the deals were cast, yet still the strong consumed the weak, yet still the world had hands that bled. The hands that built, the hands that turned, the hands that fed the world in steel, were hands ignored, were hands that broke, were hands that felt the systems heal. No blade was drawn, no bombs were cast, no kings arose, no flags were flown. Yet still the battles shaped the core, and still the towers ruled alone. You see, the future war. The skies were black, the ground was fire, the war was fought through steel and wire. The soldiers marched, but none were men. The war machines had claimed the land. The voices lost, the eyes turned blind, the rulers hid behind their screens. The wars were fought through codes and drones, the bodies burned yet left unseen. The lands were gone, the oceans cracked, the sky had bled, the stars had died. Yet in the silence, past the war, the hunger stirred, the curse survived. The future fades, the past returns, the kings will come, the thrones will burn, for man was made to rise and fall, and man will never break the call. Sixth, the final curse. The cycle turns, the curse remains, the names will change, the fate's the same. The wars will rise, the crowns will break, the men will bleed, the gods will fade, the kings will swear, the land will die, the world will end beneath the sky. Yet when the last of men still walks, the hunger speaks, the cycle talks. For man was built with greed in heart, for man was born to take and own, for man was meant to rise and kill, and man was made to die alone. The past returns, the curse is set, the wheel still spins, the fire still spreads. And when the world has burned away, the hunger wakes another day.